I'm Coach Corey Wayne. This is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be fear that you're not enough. Well, one of the primary fears that we as human beings have is fear that we're not enough, or fear that we don't have what it takes to get what we want in life, accomplish the things we want, have that girl that we like and ask out, actually like us and fall in love with us and have a great relationship with us. Or if you're trying to raise money from investors to get them to invest in your company or your startup or whatever it happens to be, or to convince that prospective employer to hire you, or if there's a great employee that you really want to hire for your company and there's two other people that are trying to hire he or she over you, what you can say and what you can do to convince them that your job opportunity and your company and your culture is the right place and the right fit for them, even if they're able to pay them more. Well, I've got an email here from a viewer, and it's interesting. I did an email response for him the other day, and it's always good when something happens in your life that doesn't go according to the plan or the way that you wanted it to be, that you're able to figure out what you did wrong, because when you're able to see and what you learn from your mistakes, and it's probably like the first time you read my book, if you're like me, then when you were going through it, as you read things, you think about other situations that you were in the past where you screwed up and you didn't really understand what went wrong, but when you read my book, you went, oh, and then you totally get it. It's like all the little light bulbs go off in your head. So he says here, after I went through one of his previous emails to diagnose his situation. Now he's gone back and objectively looked at the situation, because you have to be. That's how you learn from things. He says, I think I know what I did wrong. The first couple of months we dated, I skipped classes so I could be with my girlfriend. And he says, big no-no. See, it's like a man never sacrifices his purpose for a woman. He has to go and do the things that are important to him. But when you start sacrificing your life and putting your future in jeopardy just to spend time with you, that's a guy who is putting his woman before his purpose. And why that scares a woman deep down, she thinks, well, what happens if we're married and we've got kids and he was so lovesick like this, would he just blow his job off and risk getting fired when he's the primary breadwinner? I mean, it sounds innocuous and it's not a big deal, but what it does, it causes a woman to not trust your masculine core, to not trust that you're going to take care of the things that you need to be taking care of as a man. And it communicates weakness, that communicates that you don't have your priorities right. She'd rather support you and love you and encourage you in your purpose than having you throw your life and your dreams and your career down the toilet just to spend time with her. Because obviously, once you lose your primary source of income, then that's going to create problems in the relationship, especially if you're the breadwinner in the family. Or at the very least, if she doesn't want to end up having to carry, or maybe she can't carry her whole half of the rent if you guys are living together without your income. Women want to feel safe and comfortable. They want to feel like the roof over their head is going to be there, it's going to be stable, and that way it allows them to open up and just receive love. That's what feminine energy is about. But when the future is uncertain, and it doesn't look like you're taking care of things as a man like you should be, it causes her to become fearful. She'll become less interested in sex. She won't be as affectionate and as passionate as she once was, because she's having to shut down and protect her heart and potentially think long term as far as plans, like what happens if this guy just doesn't get his shit together and he doesn't get a job. That's what happens. In essence, you're forcing her to move over into her masculine energy, to make up for what you're not taking care of. And so he says, big no-no, and I knew this, but I still did it like an idiot, and outside of the first couple of months, I think we're okay. He says, there may have been a couple of other things that I can either see or remember, but here is what I did wrong, the big mistake. While she was away, I freaked out and thought she changed her mind about being with me. Isn't this interesting? And like people tell you, it's like we all have limiting beliefs and fears and doubts about ourselves, and these are the things that cause us. It's like when we come from a place of fear, this is what happens. We fuck things up. And listen to what he says. He says, she only contacted me twice for the first week, and then nothing for 2 weeks until the last day or two before she was on her flight back home. And you know how you can sense when something is wrong, like a gut feeling? It's like, yep. Well, when she did finally contact me after 2 weeks, I got the feeling because her texts weren't the same. The couple she did send me were short, and I dismissed it as nothing. She might have just been busy. See, guys don't realize that a woman's interest and attraction drops slowly over time, and her interest has been dropping, but yet it's like cognitive dissonance, and he just ignores it like it's not really there. He says, but the more I thought about it and the more I realized something was wrong, and when she came back, it was like 11 p.m., and I hadn't heard from her all day while she was traveling, even when she landed up in New York. I called her because I had her flight info, but she didn't pick up. And then I was like, okay, maybe she's just busy, no big deal. And then when she landed in town, like I said, I was thinking it was around 11 p.m. I expected at least a, hey, I'm here, I'm safe kind of text, but nothing. Well, my question is, how come you weren't picking her up at the airport? Because when my girlfriend comes to town, I've always been there to pick her up at the airport. And she'd want me there, and I'd want to see her because after we'd been away for a few days or a week, it's like I was fucking ready to tear that ass up again. So he says, so I waited until the morning and had a freak out on her, and she finally texted me saying, what? Everything is okay. Are you okay? And I was like, you didn't change your mind? That's such a bad thing. See, it's like right there, his subconscious fear that I'm not good enough, you won't love me once you really get to know me, comes out, and he basically communicates, oh, it's just a matter of time before you fall out of love with me and dump me. And that's what you're communicating to her. And eventually a woman's going to get tired of that, tired of you constantly communicating that through your words, your deeds, and your actions. And eventually she's going to go, you know what, you're right, you don't fucking deserve me, you're out of here, pal. And he says, right there is where I fucked up, and this was the biggest turning point. But I also believe that she had predetermined the breakup while over there because I told her I had a surprise for her when she got back, and she never asked me about it or said anything, and that's unlike her. Yeah, because she didn't care at that point. She wasn't really curious because, you had done so much fucking up. And he says, not that just that, but there were other signs too. And part of my issue was trying to put all the blame on her and not look at what I did wrong. I knew this all along deep down, but I didn't want to face it. He says, ego defense. It's like we all do it. We bullshit ourselves. He says, I think I can truly start learning from this now and figuring out what it was I did wrong. Although I feel that if she truly did not care about me, that shouldn't have been an issue and we could have put it past us. And to be honest, I thought we did, but like I said, I realized I did some things wrong. But in the end, it was her decision, and I strongly feel that the decision was made while she was over there. Would you agree with me on that, or is there something more to it? Please let me know. Well, like I said, eventually, because you weren't paying attention to the fact that she was losing interest in you. You were just going, it's no big deal, it doesn't mean anything, and you're blowing it off, like most guys do. And it's like you see the train wreck coming, but your ego just tells you, there's nothing fucking wrong, she loves me. I mean, come on, this is me, this can't possibly happen. And then it's like you see it coming, and you ignore it because you don't really know what to do. You're full of fear, and then the more fearful you become, you start saying things that just confirm to her that, wow, this guy's a needy, insecure jackass. And, women want a guy that thinks and feels he deserves her, that he deserves to be with her. Do you ever see James Bond in a movie going, well, I know, hopefully you'll like me, but, I'll understand if you don't. James Bond doesn't act like that. Now, some of the other movies, like if you watched the movie Pearl Harbor with Ben Affleck and Kate Beckinsale, which was I think it came out in 1999, in the movie, he's got his head in her lap, and he's basically acting all like a fucking pussy. Oh, please love me. Hopefully, you'll you'll let me go out with you or take you out in such a weak fucking way. And of course, this being Hollywood, she's acting like the man in the scene, and she doesn't really say much. And of course, she falls in love with him because of that weak act. But James Bond never acts like that in real life, and so that's why when you act more like a James Bond or like some of the old Cary Grant movies or Clint Eastwood movies or even some of the old stuff from the 40s, 50s, early 60s, it's like a lot of the older movies, men are presented in an archetype, which is the way where women are always chasing them, trying to pin them down, using their looks, their body, their charm to get him to pay attention and get his mind off his life or his business or his purpose or his career. And he reluctantly does, but he does it because he loves her and he adores her. But you don't see men chasing after fucking women and acting like a little girl like you do in all the movies today. And so when you get conditioned to think that way, and then and then you act that way, and then your girl starts doing the opposite, and she starts running away, and you don't know what to do. It's like you fall back on your conditioning, and like I said, what you fear, you attract. And you were driven by fear, and it's like drivers when they lose control of a race car. It's like they literally steer themselves right into the wall. So this is why you apply the things I teach in my book over and over again, and you learn them, because you learn what to say and how you should be responding when emotionally your emotions are, it's hard to tell which way is up, because when you're totally in love with a girl and you're afraid of losing her and you're fearful, it's hard to do the right thing, and that's why it's so important to get to know the information in my book so well you could literally teach it yourself, because then you can just think back to an example or a particular strategy and take the appropriate action and cause her to start chasing you and pursuing you again, and get things back on track where they need to be. So if you have a question that you want to ask me, or a topic you want me to cover in a future video newsletter, go to my website, click the Contact Me tab, which will be on the left-hand side of your screen. Send me 1 to 2 paragraphs max, and just give me several days to get back to you with a response. If you want to talk to me right away, the quickest way to get my help is to book a paid phone coaching session. You can do that by going to my website, click the Products tab, which will be at the top of your screen. Just follow the instructions. If you want a digital version of my Kindle ebook, on my website, underneath the email sign-up box in the right-hand column, is a link that will take you right to the Kindle download page for my book. Once you get there, if you don't have a Kindle device already, you can download a free e-reader app by clicking the button on the right-hand side to download a free app for your smartphone, tablet device, or your computer. It only takes a matter of seconds to download and install and complete the purchase of my book. And if you appreciate the value of the information I offer in these coaching videos and articles on my website and my ebook, you can show your appreciation by going to my website, and on there will be a toolbar which will be at the bottom of your screen. Click the PayPal donate button and donate any amount that you feel is equal to the value of the information. And I will talk to you soon.